Hey everybody, welcome to another road test that we've got for you here at Cycle News. And today we've just spent the entire day ripping around on this thing. This is the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT. Now this is an all new bike for Yamaha for this year. Now a few years ago the Tracer originally came out, the GT. Now this is, as I say, it's basically gone from the bottom up, all new engine, new chassis, new luggage system, new ride position, new dash, new everything. It's a really fun little bike. $14,899 that is going to cost you one of these things here in the United States, which is pretty good value when you consider what you get for it. Now, standard fitment for these things, you get stuff like cruise control, you get cornering ABS, you get heated grips, not heated seats. You get these big old panniers here, and you also get a top box as sorry, you don't get a top box, I beg your pardon. That comes as an optional extra. I spent enough time on the old one. I've probably done, I don't know, 5,000-6,000 miles on ones over the last sort of 3 or 4 years. So I've got to know them pretty well. My old man actually in Australia used to own one of these things, so I have actually spent a fair bit of time on them. I did enjoy it, although it never really sort of hit the right nerve for me. It always felt a little bit rushed in its finish, a bit raw, a bit like the old MT-09s from back in sort of 2013-14 when those things first came out. This thing now, as it is a much smoother motorcycle compared to what it was. It's much more refined. Part of that comes down to the new suspension. So electronic suspension that you get from KYB. KYB is giving you a pretty basic system to deal with. It's not overly complicated. There's 2 modes. They're only automatic modes, so there's no manual mode. It's basically a soft and a hard mode. You get rebound adjustment on the rear, and you get compression and rebound on the front. Preloads you have to set manually yourself. On the back here you have a nice handy little hand adjuster, so it makes it easy when you've got your pillion or your passenger on the back, or you've got lots of luggage. Overall, though, the ride itself is really nice. It's quite a smooth ride in level 2. Level 1 is the harder mode, and you really need to be in, I guess, very smooth roads. You know, you don't want to be running through the city, you don't want to be running through potholes and canyons, that kind of stuff in level 1, because it gets a little bit harsh. I spent the majority of the time today in level 2, and look, absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. It was a little bit springy here and there, but overall the ride comfort was really good. Talking about ride comfort, the cockpit has completely changed. New dash, new handlebar design, new seats obviously. The seat is really good. You know, I mean, I spent, what's the time now? So, I mean, I only just got off this thing. I've spent just under 8 hours sitting on that thing today. Long day, I can tell you, and I feel good, which is about the best compliment I can give it. Earlier on, I was playing around with seat heights. Now it's 6'1". We originally had the seat heights in the lowest position. There's the lowest position up there, and it was a little bit too low for me, but also wasn't quite right with the screen. Put the thing into the highest position. There's the seat height up there for the highest seat height, and put the screen on the lowest level, and the wind hit me right there, absolutely perfectly. No head rattle, no nothing, and took a lot of the wind noise out of it. So I was really pleased with that. It was a really comfortable ride for the majority of the day. So Yamaha's done really well with the ergonomics of this bike. With that revamped motor, you know, it's basically a ground up job, but a lot of work's been done on the cylinder head, new cams, intake, all that stuff. They've given you a much more predictable feeling on the throttle. Originally, if you ever were lucky enough to ride, or in some cases unlucky enough to ride, the early iterations of this 3-cylinder motor, it was really junky throttle response, you know, really jerky. This thing's gone from 847cc now up to 890, so you get a bit more oomph for your dollar now these days. It's given you a lot more of a predictable throttle response. The actual torque hit is not as hard as what it was. The throttle maps have actually gone up from 3 to 4 now, so it's pretty wide reaching. It's about as much as you're ever going to need. I actually spent the most of the time in level 2, found that was a nice sort of compromise. Level 1 gives you obviously all the fruit. but does seem to hit a little bit too hard when you're on the side of the tire. But overall, look, you have plenty of torque, and when you get that thing spinning up sort of 4,000-5,000 RPM, there's just go everywhere on tap with this thing. You mix that in with that beautiful up and down quick shifter that comes as standard on this thing. Really, really sweet. You know, you get a pretty sporty little bike underneath you. You get a lot of performance. The gear shift is lovely. You know, it's as fast as you're ever going to need for the street. That's for sure. It's a really fun thing. The frame has been completely redesigned, stiffer all around, basically for better side of the tire feel. And I can tell you firsthand, it feels remarkably different to the old one. So before, what they did was that the swing arm used to wrap around the outside of the chassis. So you come down here, you can, I don't know if you can see from back there, but the swing arm now goes under the inside of the frame. Before, the frame used to get real skinny and the swing arm would come around the outside. Now they've gone, I guess, traditional sports bike style with the frame and the swing arm setup, and it makes that thing feel planted as hell on the side of the tire. It's really sweet. You can carve beautiful long lines. The bike doesn't shimmy around, doesn't do anything silly underneath you. You've also got the Bridgestone T32 GT tires as well. First time I've ever ridden those tires. Really nice, good thing. A little bit hard. Doesn't give you that real squishy feel under brakes, but they're designed for long rides, long times in the saddle. So look, they've done the Bridgestone tires. I've always been a big fan of Bridgestone tires, especially things like the T31s and that kind of stuff. Like lovely tires. Overall, they've done a really good job with this. I mean, for the fact that you can get this under 15 grand, yes, it's gone up a little bit. It's about 1,800 bucks more than what you had back in 2020. But for 2021, she's gone up a little bit in price. However, there is so much stuff that comes with it. That new dash as well, before I forget, that new dash. I don't know if you've got kids out there and you've ever seen that movie WALL-E with your little ones. Kind of looks like Wall-E's head, you know, like two big eyes and a big nose in the middle. They've done a good job, but I don't understand why they wouldn't just make it one big long dash. I'm guessing it's down to cost, because they do have a lot of information in there that is sort of in places that I wouldn't want it to be. So you got like you got twin trip meters and twin fuel consumptions. I don't know why you'd need two active fuel consumption things going at the same time. But on the left hand, that's on the right hand side. On the left hand side, you've got basically all the main stuff that you need, really. But one thing I don't understand is like the time is wedged right down in the left corner, and you can never find it at a glance. You can't see it. So look, it's a good design, but it's a little bit hit and miss for me. I would have just liked to have seen a bigger dash, but it's just me being picky. But look, overall, it's a really sweet bike. Adjustable screen here on there, which is just, I don't understand why any touring bike that comes out where you have to stop to adjust the screen, that's an instant black mark on my name. You can change the screen all day, excellent. That's the way it should be. Nice and easy. And look, that's the thing. This is a really nice bike from Yamaha. It's not overly complicated. The electronics you get are easy to understand. They're easy to use. And that's half the battle these days with electronics. But the hardware, the motor and the chassis is a ripper. Good thing from Yamaha. For under 15K, they've done pretty well.